with number 60. There goes number 61. Is it there? Yes! And McGwire is alone with Roger Maris. Parking is right. Here's the pitch, and McGwire drives one to deep left. This could be, it is a home run. Number 62 for Mark McGwire. A slice of history and a magical moment in St. Louis. A line drive home run to left for Mark McGwire of the St. Louis Cardinals.
Here's the windup. Fastball hit deep to right. It could be it. Way back there. Holy cow! What a shot!
Trachsel winds and fires. Big Mac swing and a shot into the corner. It might make it. There it is. 62, folks. It just got over the left field wall in the corner. And we have a new home run champion.
Hi again on a fat, historic sports center, back in the house with Rich Eisen. I am Stuart Scott.
Coming up, there's a new top dog in Cleveland, and I think that's all the other news we have. All season long, Mark McGwire lamented how he led SportsCenter every night. So just what he always wanted, Stuart, an entire show dedicated to him and his Marisian feat.
Yeah, we also get to say goodbye to our nightly graphic to see if McGwire is still on pace. Instantly, Mark Grace became a hyper little kid. As Mark McGwire rounded first after homer number 61, Grace put up his forearm and Big Mac bashed it on the way by. Said Gracie, "I just did what a million people wanted to do, be the first guy to give him a bang there." It was just one image among dozens, including Mike's heartfelt hug of his son and salute to the Maris family that will be forever etched into our minds. And encore, well, there's the whole matter of breaking the record. Here we go. Cubs, Cardinals, 36 years, 11 months, 8 days after Roger Maris hit number 61. McGwire and Sosa hoping to hit one out on the same day for the 21st time this year. That's where number 61 landed Monday. Everybody hoping for 62. Before the game, McGwire shaking hands with St. Louis legend and Hall of Famer Stan the Man. The family of Roger Maris grateful that their dad's mark is threatened by a class act. Tony La Russa at the game despite attending his mother's funeral earlier in the day. Top one, Sammy Sosa facing Kent Mercker, and Sosa been doing work all year. Hey, forget the 58 homers. Sosa's hitting .313 with an NL high 140 RBI. Cubs scored 2 in the inning. They're up 2-zip. Bottom one, McGwire's first at bat. Stuck at 61 homers. His son Matt looking on. But McGwire grounds harmlessly to Jose Hernandez, who throws him out at first. Still 2-zip Cubs. McGwire would have to wait. Home plate umpire Steve Ripley brings out specially marked balls for the occasion. Bottom four, Mark McGwire, 61, money time.
Trachsel winds and fires. Big Mac swing and a shot into the corner. It might make it. There it is. 62, folks. It just got over the left field wall in the corner. And we have a new home run champion. A new Sultan of SWAT. It's Mark McGwire. He touches them all. Unbelievable.
341 feet, ironically his shortest home run of the year. Gary Gaetti, who got a hug from him at third base, the former Cardinal. Gary said he wanted to give me a hug, so I couldn't refuse. The guy doesn't know his own strength. He almost broke my back. McGwire ecstatic. Picks up his son Matthew. And that's just the first time he picked it up. He had to give his son another hug. Great moment. Does not want to let go. That's what it's all about. And then Sosa comes in from the outfield. And look what they do. First, they got to do the Cardinals home run celebration. And then they got to do Sosa's home run celebration. These guys, fueled on by each other, they probably couldn't have done it without each other. McGwire jumps into the crowd, embraces the family of Roger Maris, whose record he broke, and then he took the mic.
I truly believe in fate after what's happened this weekend. I dedicated this home run to the whole city of St. Louis and all the fans here. Thank you for all the support. It's unbelievable.
Take another look. The flash bulbs go off. McGwire didn't know it was out. That's why he was racing down the first base line.
Bang.
The pitcher, Steve Trachsel. As 50,000 people celebrated, he stood lonely on the mound. He said later, there was nothing cool about it. About the only person who didn't want to see McGwire break the record, a guy named Orv Kelly from Fargo, North Dakota, Maris' hometown. His comment after the game, well, that takes care of that. Orv, get over it, all right? History. Cardinals win the game 6-3. I mean, what do you say? That the Cubs lost a game that has wild card implications? You could, but with all due respect to Chicago, let's take this time to talk about McGwire. 62 home runs in 145 games, a new record. 341 feet. This is from a guy who hit 5 this year, over 500 feet. Roger Maris broke Babe Ruth's record 15 years after Ruth died. McGwire breaks Maris's record 15 years after Maris dies. So for the record, here we go. Mark McGwire's name now sits atop Major League Baseball's single-season home run list, 62 and counting in 1998. Followed by Maris's 61 and 61. Ruth hit his 60 in 1927. Ruth hit 59 in 1921. There's Sammy, 58 and counting. After the game, a very emotional ceremony at Busch Stadium.
This is a great evening for Cardinals and all of baseball. Now let's greet our Major League Baseball's new single-season home run leader, Mr. Mark McGwire.
Mr. McGwire, I think I have something that belongs to you.
When I touched this bat tonight before the game, I knew tonight was going to be the night. And I can honestly now say I can rest my bat alongside Roger Maris's bat in the Hall of Fame, and I'm damn proud of it. To all the Marises for being so kind, supportive, and understanding the true feeling that their father is in my heart. This night is historical, and when I drove to the ballpark today, I honestly and truly wanted to hit it for the city.
So what's next for Big Mac? A career home run mark? He still has a long way to go, but check this out. The Babe and Hammer and Hank had some of their most prolific home run hitting years after they turned 35. Big Mac turns 35 in October. Unbelievable. You saw the kid who got the ball? He said, hey, I couldn't keep it. It's not mine to begin with. McGwire just lost it, and I brought it home. I'm just a regular Joe. More historic perspective from Peter Gammons and Dave Campbell. More on everything concerning McGwire later on in the show and right now with Rich.
Hi. In breaking Roger Maris's record, Mark McGwire hit 5 miles of home runs. That's what you get when you add his 62 homers, one on top of the other. Actually get 4.95 miles, but you get the point. He chased history with such breathtaking grandeur. Perhaps homer number 55 sums it up best. A 501-foot blast off of Dennis Martinez, the shortest of McGwire's 500-foot home runs this season. The man hit so many that far that we could begin categorizing which tape measure shots were his shortest. Yes, it's been special following Mark McGwire, and the special feelings flowed all night in St. Louis. Jeremy Schaap was fortunate enough to be there.
When Mark McGwire simultaneously hit his biggest and shortest home run of the year, he shared the moment with his teammates, with his rival, with his family, with the family of the man whose record he broke, and clearly with the nation spellbound by his quest and his conquest.
The whole country has been involved in this, I think, since after the All-Star break, and it's just, you know, people have been saying it's bringing the country together. So be it. I'm happy to bring the country together.
Number 62 traveled only 341 feet, barely clearing the left field fence, but it was long enough and high enough to give McGwire the most glamorous record in sport, and to unite him with Roger Maris, Babe Ruth, and Ned Williamson as the only men to hold the record in the 20th century.
I'm almost speechless. I mean, it's I've been talking about this since January, and I get to 61. It's one swing away. And then next thing you know, I hit a ball that all of a sudden just disappeared on me.
62 went out with a bang. For the record, in the fourth inning of the Cardinals' 145th game of the season, on the first pitch of McGwire's second at bat, a fastball delivered and then destroyed at 8:18 Central Daylight Time.
Well, when I hit the ball, I saw it was on a line drive, and I thought I was going to hit the wall, and next thing you know, it disappeared, and I looked up, and Dave McKay was jumping up, and sort of like missed one big thing, touched first base.
I probably had one of the best views there was, and but it's not much of a consolation right now, this moment.
They pulled out Rogers' bat that when he hit his 61st home run, and I touched it. I touched it with my heart. Now I can honestly say that my bat will lie next to his, and I'm damn proud of it.
The record McGwire now possesses has proved to be one of the most durable in sports. The three men who had previously held it in the last 114 years each held it for at least 35 years. This could be the beginning of a very long reign. In St. Louis, Jeremy Schaap, ESPN.
Jeremy, thank you very much. Before McGwire's recent barrage, the best four-year home run frequency in the history of baseball belonged, of course, to the Babe, who swatted one out every 10 at-bats from 1926 through 1929. Since 1995, Big Mac's home run per at-bat ratio blows the Babe out of the water, one every 8.2 ABs, far and away the best amongst his peers.
Still ahead, it is what makes Mark McGwire so remarkable. This 6'5", 250-pound guy is so human. Instead of the choreographed, stylistic home run trot, he's celebrating with first base coach Dave McKay so hard he has to awkwardly go back to touch first base. A little goofy, sure. Lovable because any of us would have done it? Absolutely. Also ahead, more baseball stuff. With the Cubs lost, the Mets could take over the the wild card lead. And the Angels trying to stay up in the McGwire West. The AL West. McGwire's Center coming back.
When you're the beer man, playing in pain comes with the territory. But a few nagging injuries won't stop me from delivering cold Coors Light.
Hey, beer man.
95 is what the doctor called pop-top finger. But I kept cracking open that Rocky Mountain refreshment. 96 was a wicked case of beer elbow. But the fans wanted a frost-brewed beer, and they got it. Knock the beer man out of the game? Well, that would take something really serious. Coors Light? Yeah, you want it. Coors Light!
From James Cramer's commentary to the provocative market news and insight that serious investors crave at TheStreet.com. It's pure, uncut, and after 2-3 weeks, you'll wish you'd been hooked sooner. TheStreet.com. Call 1-800-996-4TSC.
I did a great deal of research on the automobile. I looked at the Honda Civic, Ford Probe. I always came back to Hyundai. It's a great car. Perfect on the road. Great pickup. It handled wonderfully. I love the design of the Elantra. It's sleek, classy, car of the 90s.
Right now, you could get an Elantra for just $8,999.
It impressed me completely. Take a test drive and experience it yourself.
Since you and my little girl are moving away, there's one thing you need to know. 10-10-3-2-1.
You think she'll call her mother a lot?
Yes, and hopefully her father, too. But you'll be glad that 10-10-3-2-1 saves you big time on your phone bill.
Will they talk long?
That's the beauty part. It doesn't matter. 10-10-3-2-1 saves you 50% on every call over 20 minutes.
50%? That's big.
That's huge. So those half-hour talks with her mom are going to cost you a lot less.
Dad, are you giving away the family secrets?
I gave him the best one I have.
Dial 10-10-321 to save.
Tuesday afternoon, Mark McGwire cradled the bat Roger Maris used for number 61. It obviously gave Big Mac some sweet karma. Hey, there really were other meaningful baseball games Tuesday as well.
Including the one in Philly where the Mets could take sole possession of the NL wildcard race, but the Phillies decided to celebrate McGwire's home run feat with one of their own. Whoop and stick night in Philly. A franchise record 7 homers. That's a Phillies club record, beating up Hideo Nomo. 16-4 is your final. Rico Brogna, Bobby Estalella, Kevin Zefsik homered twice. It's not the way the Mets wanted to start a 10-game road trip by giving up 7 homers to an opponent for the first time since July 11th, 1967. That happened in Wrigley Field. The Giants hit San Diego 2 games back in the wild card race, and they brought their hitting shoes with them in the 5th off of Andy Ashby. Ellis Burks base hit.
Finley coming in. He won't get it.
3-1 Giants. Next batter, JT Snow, base hit.
Right field.
4-1 Giants. Next batter, Brent Maine. Base hit, 3 straight run-scoring singles for the Giants, who go on to win 5-1. It's the 3rd straight win for the Giants, who now sit 1 game behind Chicago and New York in the wild card race. Kirk Reeder gets the win. He and 3 others combined to scatter 4 hits, as 19 Padres were retired in order from the 2nd through 8th innings, Stuart.
Yankees in Beantown, top 8. Yankees up 2-1. Bases loaded for Tito Martinez facing Pedro Martinez. Pedro uncorks just his 6th wild pitch of the year. Chuck Knobloch scores. Yanks up 3-1. 3-2 New York. Bottom 9, 2 out. Bases loaded for Darren Bragg facing Mariano Rivera. Darren cannot check his swing on the high heat. He said later, "I don't have much to say about that last at bat. We've got a difference of opinion." Yankees hold on to win at 3-2. Yankees clinch at least a tie for the AL East title. We're talking mathematically, nobody's going to catch them. David Cone becomes the first 19-game winner in the bigs, out-dueling Martinez. The pitching matchup, all it was cracked up to be. Through 7 innings, it was tied at 1. Cone had given up 2 hits, Pedro 3. Minnesota went to Anaheim and got a win. They win at 5-zip. Brad Radke wins for the first time since July 28th. Angel starter Steve Sparks loses for the first time since July 16th. Paul Molitor had a home run, career hit number 3,300. Kansas City at Texas, bottom 9, 6-5 KC. Bases loaded, 1 out. Jeff Montgomery facing Ivan Rodriguez, and Pudge straight banging. Bloop so on to right. Luis Alicea scores. Rusty Greer scores the winning run. Rangers get their 38th come-from-behind win of the season. Pudge is only hitting 5 at-bats. Texas wins at 7-6. Said Oates of Pudge's bloop single, "What we didn't want is a ground ball. When I see it in the box score tomorrow, it will look like a line drive." Rangers cut the Angels' lead over them to just 2 games in the American League West. Juan Gonzalez, 19-game hitting streak.
They say records are made to be broken, but Bob Gibson's ERA record can't be, right? We'll discuss other unbreakable barriers, and of course, we'll have more on the one that McGwire busted down as this Cardinal-tinged Sportscenter rolls on.
All your life, you've heard it.
Stop that horsing around!
Even at the pool. But now you're the grown-up. You've got the power, and you've got some making up to do. At Thistledown, horseplay is what we're all about. Just one taste of our live thoroughbred and simulcast action, and you'll be more revved up than the time you ate your whole bag of Halloween candy. So get to Thistledown and horseplay all you want. We promise not to ground you.
There are special moments in life.
What the dealio?
When amazing things happen.
Nobody thought this would last.
That change your life forever.
The 1998 MTV Video Music Awards, September 10th at 8 p.m.
Anything can happen.
The MTV Video Music Awards are brought to you in part by Cuyahoga Community College.
You know, some people think the best thing about ESPN magazine is the writing. Other people say it's the great photography. And some people think it's the design. But if you ask me, the best thing about ESPN magazine is clearly the large format. These subscription cards, however, are driving me crazy.
The ink had been drying for so long, 37 years, that the paper it was written on surely had begun to yellow. The single-season home run record, arguably the fattest, most significant record in sports, but obviously, thanks to Mark McGwire, not the toughest to break. When we think unbreakable one-season marks, what comes to mind? Numbers. 56, 130, 1.12. As Linda Cohn reports, some records were made to be broken, and others, please.
It was a record deemed unbreakable.
I guess there's always somebody out there that's capable of doing it.
First pitch, rocket deep toward left. He did it! He did it!
Now that the number 61 has lost its place among baseball's hallowed single-season records, what does the future hold for 7 other magical single-season numbers?
I always say that it will be broken because there have been so many records broken in previous years.
I don't think that's the toughest record. A lot of people seem to try to convince me that's the toughest record there is, 56 games in a row.
Contrary to those expert thoughts, Joe DiMaggio's 56-game hitting streak may be the safest single-season record in baseball.
That's the one I think is going to stand the test of time.
In its 57-year tenure, only 2 players have come within 20 games of DiMaggio's record. In 1978, it was Pete Rose with a 44-game streak, and Paul Molitor with a 39-game streak in 1987. The premium placed on consistency explains why 56 may never be broken.
To try to imagine what he did after having gone through, a streak that still came up 17 games short of what he did, it reconfirms more than anything the greatness of that man had and what he had to offer to the game of baseball.
My streak, of course, is just game by game, so you don't get another chance. If you do stop after 40 games, there's no streak.
Hat Wilson's 190 RBI season has stood for 68 years, with only 2 players since 1950 coming within 40 RBIs of Wilson's mark. Juan Gonzalez reached 100 RBI by this season's All-Star break, but he could not maintain the torrid pace needed to threaten 190. Rogers Hornsby's .424 average has faced few challenges in its 74-year reign.
I think the .424 is about as tough as it gets.
Since Ted Williams' .406 season back in 1941, only 2 players have challenged the .400 plateau. George Brett, who hit .390 in 1980, and Tony Gwynn, who hit .394 in the strike-shortened 1994 season.
You got to do it every day. Just to hit .400, you got to do it every day. And to hit that high, you're talking about 270, 280 hits, and you got to be patient. You got to accept your walks, but man, that is so hard to even fathom.
Few have fathomed a challenge to Bob Gibson's live ball era record of a 1.12 ERA for a season.
I'd say it's pretty safe. Not to take anything away, but I think that was the last year of the high mound, and that's definitely an advantage for a pitcher, and that's gone now.
In the 30 years Gibson's record has stood, only 2 starters have managed an ERA of under 1.60. Dwight Gooden with a 1.53 ERA in 1985, and Greg Maddux with a 1.56 ERA in the strike-shortened 1994 season.
I think pitching nowadays is a little bit tougher to break that 1.1 ERA. Well, I don't know if we'll ever see that.
I don't know if anyone will ever be as good as he was. And he was good. He was one of the best to ever pitch.
It would take probably the minimum required amount of innings and some not pitching in Colorado and not pitching in some of those parks.
Pitching in Colorado is one of a number of fundamental changes in how baseball is played that makes 3 other single-season records unapproachable. In 1904, Jack Chesbrough won a whopping 41 games for the New York Highlanders. With 5-man rotations limiting today's top starters to under 40 starts, Chesbrough's mark is untouchable. The 5-man rotation also lessens the chance that Nolan Ryan's record of 383 strikeouts in a season will ever be challenged. If a top strikeout pitcher were to start 35 games, he would have to average almost 11 Ks per 9 innings, a pace only 7 starting pitchers have maintained for an entire season. The offensive explosion triggered by homer-happy ballparks and expansion-depleted pitching staffs have all but removed the threat to Rickey Henderson's single-season stolen base record of 130. Vince Coleman came within 20 steals of Henderson's mark back in 1985. But with balls leaving the park at record rates, managers have put up the stop signs. No player has stolen 80 bases in a season this decade. 7 magical numbers, 7 historic records. Which one will be next to fall?
They're all incredible records. They're hard to think that anybody could attain something so great like those.
Linda, thanks. Some of the records right here that many thought would never be broken, and in most cases when they were obliterated. Marino bettered George Blanda's touchdown pass mark by 12. Wilt broke his own NBA points per game record by 12 points per game. Gretzky bettered Phil Esposito's goal record by 16. Still up, Matthew McGwire. What's he going to write in school about what did I do over the summer? I just hung out while my dad broke the single-season home run record. More on Big Mac and Little Mac's Big Night when we get back.
I'm a junior VP, and all the junior VPs have one of these. So I'll just call my secretary, and then she'll... voicemail.
Chuck, number 4's down.
Gotcha.
I'm the mailroom guy, and all the mailroom guys get to see the phones that the senior VPs get.
Nextel's two-way radio feature makes ordinary cell phones seem ordinary.
Midnight thunder, chills under, thunder got a hex on me. Midnight thunder. Hypnotize, electrifies, thunder got a hex on me. New, midnight thunder. Gatorade. Give your thirst the heebie-jeebies. Oh, man. Where's he going? Mountains? River? Both. It's Tuesday. People work on Tuesday.
It's the Colts and the Patriots on ESPN Sunday Night Football. Peyton Manning against Drew Bledsoe.
This Peyton Manning impresses me. He comes from a great lineage of quarterbacking talent.
What is he, a racehorse? Lineage? Who uses the word lineage?
His father was a quarterback.
Ah, put a sock in it. My father was a terrific dancer.
What's your point?
Can I dance?
What? Can I dance? With who?
ESPN Sunday Night Football. It all begins with NFL Prime Time at 7:30.
On the day her late husband's home run record was broken, Patricia Maris was hospitalized with an irregular heartbeat for the second time this week. Her family brought her to the emergency room several hours before the Cubs-Cardinals game. She had flown from Florida to St. Louis Sunday with her 4 sons and 2 daughters to watch McGwire in that game and was taken to the hospital before that game. Hospital officials say Patricia Maris is expected to be released on Wednesday.
And speaking of lending perspective, our gang from the Baseball Tonight set, Carl Ravitch, Peter Gammons, and Dave Campbell, try to do just that in terms of the baseball history books. Gentlemen.
Well, he handles a bat like most of us handle a toothpick. Mark McGwire, a 34-inch, 33-ounce piece of wood. He's got broad shoulders, and he has certainly carried the game of baseball on those broad shoulders all year. And a 60-second home run sort of encapsulates what he's meant to the game, hasn't it?
Well, ever since 1994, we've talked about where does baseball expand its audience. It's not going to expand it to the rich kids in the malls in Montclair, New Jersey. They have to go out to audiences they haven't had before. Sammy Sosa obviously has had a tremendous impact on what will be the largest ethnic group in this country after the year 2000. Baseball clearly is going after the Hispanic and Asian audiences that embrace baseball. But what I think is fascinating about the whole McGwire phenomenon is that he has brought a whole new audience. You're talking about women watching baseball, watching these post-game interviews. He is a very compelling figure. He's able to stand. He's able to be this huge home run hitter who can sit up there and talk about his son and cry. He can talk about his ex-wife and how they're able to raise their child in a functional situation. I think it's a tremendous thing for baseball. I think it's tremendous that we've had such a sensitive man step forward and really expand the audience.
So many times heroes are larger than life. Mark McGwire has shown that he's actually human.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think his graciousness and the graciousness of the St. Louis fans has helped perhaps heal a wound in the Maris family that I think has festered for an awfully long time. Talking to Kevin yesterday in St. Louis, I mean, he really feels a kinship with McGwire. And I think what Mark did with that family and made them feel a part of this. I just regret the fact that Roger never got to feel the adoration that Mark McGwire is found in St. Louis. I think had he felt that adoration, he perhaps would have opened up like McGwire because they were very much alike. McGwire was very introspective early in his career, and then he finally learned to let the emotions out, and it was responded in kind by the fans in St. Louis.
I heard you recently say, Peter, that the Veterans Committee will likely be the ones to get Roger Maris into the Hall of Fame. Does what Mark McGwire has accomplished this season put him into the Hall of Fame?
Probably. I think, he's going to end up with 5 home runs, 100 home runs anyway. He's a lock in the Hall of Fame. I mean, you know, we've talked so much. He's got the single season, the 2 season, the 3 season, the 4 season home run records. He's done so much for baseball. When you talk about most valuable player, Sammy Sosa on the field, putting a team up on his back is unquestionably the MVP. But when you talk about most valuable, what about most valuable to the game? And that race Well, I wouldn't want to be the voter late on September 27th trying to make up his mind.
Yeah.
The only regret any of us probably will ever have is the fact McGwire missed 308 games with strikes and injuries, 1993 to 95. Otherwise, we might be talking about a legitimate challenge to Hank Aaron. He has 449, but you throw out those 3 years with the average he had of about 1 home run every 2.4 games. McGwire could have about 577 home runs right now. He'd be within 200 of Aaron, but that's one of those ifs and buts we'll never know.
But like Maris, McGwire was able to accomplish this in an expansion year, as Dave just pointed out. 2.05 home runs hit per game this year. Last year, 2.05. So many guys have talked about the drugs. Granted, they're legal, but so many guys have tried to knock down what Mark McGwire has been able to accomplish. There is no knocking him.
Well, for one thing, he hit 49 home runs the year before that. Andro, whatever it is, was even invented. Listen, I think people have forgotten that. I think what we all want to see, I think we'd love to see these two guys tied on September 27th, a little tale of two cities.
I just want to salute Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa. What wonderful theater. Baseball was a big winner.
Yeah, thanks for the memories, and more memories to come. It was McGwire himself who said, Sammy, what do you think? How about 70? We both end up tied. That would be perfect. It's been perfect so far. We look forward to the rest of the season. Now back to you.
Guys, thanks. Still up, Steve Trachsel, the modern-day Tracy Stallard. Trachsel didn't want to be the answer to a trivia question, but he is. We're back.
Okay, people, this is a phone, and this is a dollar. You still with me? Well, that's good. Now, dial this number, and all your long-distance calls from home could cost less than $1. That's right, with 10-10-220, all calls up to 20 minutes are only 99 cents. Talk longer, and it's just 10 cents for each extra minute. No fees, no contracts. Am I right, Poochie? Just dial 10-10-220, then 1, then the number. Bottom line, you get up to 20 minutes on this for less than this. You got that? Good, because if I'm not mistaken, I think nature's calling my dog.
Yves Saint Laurent eyewear by Luxottica. What do you want people to see?
I want you to see discretion.
Dignity.
I want you to see how the girl next door turned out.
Let them see you in Yves Saint Laurent eyewear by Luxottica.
Proud to play in the NFL. Proud to play for a single mother. Proud to have a college degree. Proud to have a twin brother. Proud to play in a new era.
Night football. Wake Forest has an offense with the ability to score at any moment, led by quarterback Brian Cookler.
And they'll test their skills against Navy. Thursday game night at 7:30. Navy versus Wake Forest tomorrow at 8 on ESPN.
For every Hank Aaron, Bill Mazeroski, Joe Carter, Bucky Dent, Kirk Gibson, Bobby Thompson, and Roger Maris, there has been an Al Downing, a Ralph Terry, Mitch Williams, Mike Torres, Dennis Eckersley, Ralph Branca, and Tracy Stallard. Luckily for Steve Trachsel, Mark McGwire is not done bashing this season, but Carlos Diaz reports on the man who's in the history books with Big Mac for now.
Steve Trachsel is enjoying his most productive season ever, posting a career-best 14 wins thus far. But when baseball fans mention 1998, Trachsel will be remembered solely for this.
Trachsel winds and fires. Big Mac, swing, and a shot into the corner. It might make it. There it is, 62, folks.
I don't even think it was on the plate. To be honest, I think it was about shin high. It was probably off the inside corner.
He hit a great pitch. You know, it was on the outside corner about shin high, and he hit a 1-iron out of here.
I've gotten him out with it before. I mean, he's just he's a good hitter, and as strong as he is.
McGwire took Trachsel into the record books with him in the 4th, but it was the intentional walk that Trachsel issued to McGwire in the 6th that truly put a dent in the Cubs' postseason hunt.
We still had to play the ball game. Right. I mean, base open. You know, he's already hit 1. You know, that you still have to keep us in the game, and that's the play. You know, anytime anybody's going to do that and go after Langford. Unfortunately, you know, Ray hit a good pitch, and it cost us.
If you were looking for someone to give up number 62, Steve Trachsel would seem like the perfect candidate. In 1997, he allowed more homers than any other pitcher in the National League. Among them, Mark McGwire's 58th and final home run of the season.
Say he hits 70 home runs. You know, that'll be the new record. Is that the pitcher that goes down in history as whoever he hits his last home run off this year? I guess that will be the guy that's remembered more, you know, because that's the record that is going to, you know, set the standard. So that's probably the guy that goes down in history, not Steve Trachsel.
I'm hoping that they'll be talking about Steve Trachsel helped the Cubs get to the World Series. That's what I'm hoping that they'll be talking about. I think whoever gives it the last one is the one that they're going to be talking about. I mean, this is just one of many he's going to finish the year with.
From St. Louis, Carlos Diaz, ESPN.
Carlos, thanks. Back to baseball biz other than McGwire to Montreal, where the Expos were giving Greg Maddux the business. And the Russian government wishes it could print money like the new Cleveland Browns will. The new owner who'll run the mint, revealed when we return.
6 yards of hunter green, 2 yards of gold, stick pins, heavy-duty thread, and some of those iron transfers.
The Honda ATVs. The desert can't beat them. The jungle can't beat them. Mountains, rocks, water, even a fall from 1,000 feet can't beat them. And if you thought these Hondas were tough to beat before, now they come with no down payment and 9.8% APR financing, but only until December 31st. Tough to beat deals from your Honda dealer. Honda ATVs, best on earth.
When you come home in a few years, you're not just going to pop on the TV. You're going to do something else. And that's the stuff that I'm working on. Part of my job is to figure out where technology is going and how it's going to come together. And part of it is figuring out what people want to do with it. And that's kind of a balancing act to get those to come together. The idea is not to be more efficient. The idea is to have better lives.
When the heat starts to bite, do you have what it takes to bite back? Gatorade Frost. Is it in you?
At the McGwire at the U.S. Open, top seed Martina Hingis defeated Monica Seles in straight sets to advance to her 9th straight Grand Slam semi. She'll meet Wimbledon champ Jana Novotná in those semis. On the men's side, Andre Agassi lost in 5 sets to Karo Kuchera in a match that was suspended by rain on Monday. Kuchera faces Pete Sampras in the quarters. He beat Sampras in the quarters of the Australian Open in January.
It was a long night for Greg Maddux in Montreal. Bottom of the first base is loaded. He hits F.P. Santangelo, plates Vladimir Guerrero, 3-1 Expos. And the next batter, Orlando Cabrera, base hit. Brad Fulmer come on down. Maddux gave up 5 earned on 6 hits in 7 innings as the Expos go on a win 6-3. Maddux has now given up 24 earned runs over his last 39 innings to see his ERA balloon to 2.20. Not pictured in the highlights, Maddox's career strikeout number 2,000. And also reduced to the score-only land by McGwire's 62nd jack. The first career Grand Slam for Jeff Bagwell, who went 3 for 3 and tied a career high with 6 ribbies, as the two teams McGwire will next visit hooked up.
The Devil Rays blow out Seattle. Wilson Alvarez and 2 relievers combined for the 2-hit shutout. And Jeff Abbott homered twice. He now only trails McGwire by 52 home runs in the home run race. The White Sox double up Detroit.
The irony in Cleveland is thick. An old limited partner of the Cleveland Browns, on whose jet Art Modell signed the agreement to bolt for Baltimore, is now the new principal owner of the new Cleveland Browns. On Tuesday, the NFL awarded the franchise to Cleveland billionaire Alfred Lerner for an American sports record $530 million. The awarding of the franchise to Lerner also marked the return to the league of former 49ers president Carmen Policy, who will own 10% of the Browns and run the football operations. Coming up, we've given you the replays and the perspective, but before we give you the retrospective, we'll give you the McGwire minutia, all the numbers Big Mac can crunch, in a moment.
When some people have allergies, they sneeze a lot. Others get an itchy, runny nose or nasal congestion. Me, I had it all. So I said to my doctor, enough already. He prescribed Flonase nasal spray.
Multi-symptom Flonase. Once a day relieves all nasal allergy symptoms all day and all night long. for any or all of those nasal symptoms.
All it takes is Flonase.
For best results, Flonase must be used daily. Maximum relief may take several days. Side effects are generally mild and may include headache, nosebleed, or sore throat. Call now and you'll get a $5 savings, valuable information on Flonase, and our free allergy newsletter in the fall and spring. So you'll know how to deal with your nasal allergies and feel better all year round. Even kids as young as 4 can use Flonase. For nasal allergy relief, ask your doctor about multi-symptom Flonase.
When you get it all it takes is Flonase.
The NASCAR Ride-Along program puts you in the action.
And this is Carmen, my niece. She's Mary Lee's daughter. Now, you remember Mary Lee. This is my beautiful granddaughter, Chrissy. And who is this?
That's Stuart.
Stuart?
Yeah, he married Eleanor.
You're right.
NASCAR on ESPN.
So do you think our producer went into research and said, get me something on Mark McGwire? Yet more Big Mac numerals for your perusal. Loss of games due to injury the last 6 seasons has not prevented McGwire from producing homers. He has hit 9 more homers his last 6 years than in his first 6 years of his career, and he's done so in 315 fewer games and 1,173 fewer at-bats.
Freeze the images of McGwire's night, hugging and not letting go of his son Matthew, hugging and not letting go of the Maris family. Sammy Sosa tentatively creeping up to the Cardinals' spontaneous block party, looking in before one Cardinal basically said, hey, it's okay, come on in, he'd love to see you. Freeze them, tuck them away, cherish them. Since we're SportsCenter, we got to go a step further. Carl Ravitch now has more on Big Mac's homer stats.
First pitch, rocket deep toward left. He did it! He did it! He did it! He did it!
McGwire's favorite day of the week to homer is, guess, Tuesday, where he has whacked 15 long balls. And if he doesn't get you Tuesday, Big Mac's weekend tear is equally awesome. He knocked out 11 Saturday and 10 on Friday. The best day for a pitcher to catch him, Monday. He's got 5. The only inning McGwire has gone homerless in this season is the second. His best inning to hit a home run, guess, the 4th. The same inning he belted number 62. He's got 11 home runs that inning. Each of his home runs have been memorable, but how many have been meaningful? 28 of McGwire's homers have either tied the game or given the Cardinals the lead this season. Included in those, 2 walk-off home runs.
The 0-1 pitch. Swung on and a drive to left field. McGwire has hit a 3-run homer and the Cardinals win again.
There is no advantage for the pitcher when McGwire is batting with 2 strikes. You get ahead, you're behind. He's hit 20 home runs with 2 strikes, 20 home runs with 1 strike, and 22 home runs with no strikes. The only pitch count McGwire hasn't homered on is 3-0. In this historical run, McGwire has beaten up on some less than stellar pitching. Of the 57 victims McGwire is homered against, 18 have 3 or less years of major league experience. 9 of them, rookies. 25 of the pitchers have ERAs over 4.5, and only 12 of his home runs have come off pitchers with at least 10 wins. 1 Cy Young winner has made the list, Orel Hershiser, but he won the Cy back in 1988. The oldest pitcher to feed Big Mac, 43-year-old Dennis Martinez. In fact, only 4 pitchers were born when Roger Maris hit his 61st in '61. Martinez, Hershiser, Mark Langston, and the man who gave up number 61, Mike Morgan. The youngest pitcher, the guy who gave up number 60, 21-year-old Dennis Reyes. And speaking of young, McGwire's highest home run total against one team is the 7 he's hit against the Marlins, and that includes 1 off a guy who spells his name J-E-S-U-S. Jesus Sanchez, that is. Clearly a season of divine intervention.
Still ahead, look up class in the dictionary, and there ought to be a picture of McGwire and Sosa. No one can imagine what they've been through and how happy they were to have each other through this long and wonderful ride.
Here at VMI, we were asked to try the new Norelco Advantage for 21 days. That was quiet dissension.
I'm not giving up my blade.
And anxious inquiry.
The heck is this? Goo?
But then we started to realize the lotion actually gave us a closer, smoother shave than we expected, without the nicks and cuts like blades. Our fear diminished, our hopes arose, and life got a little less hairy.
Come on, babyface, move it.
The new Norelco Advantage. Put it to the test. If you don't like it, they'll give you your money back guaranteed.
Please don't drive drunk.
In Murray, Utah, a lot of folks like to work on their cars themselves, and they come to AutoZone because they know they'll find quality parts, low prices, great selection, and helpful people like Rick Perry. Now, Rick's been around cars all his life, so he knows a thing or two about looking up parts and solving problems. And whether it's selling new parts or testing old ones, he's always glad to help. You see, when it comes to getting the right part, the right price, and good advice, there's just no place better than AutoZone.
McGwire, Sosa, chasing history. Catch key games, plus all the news every night on ESPN and ESPN2. From the Wednesday night doubleheaders to Baseball Tonight to SportsCenter, we're on top of McGwire, Sosa, and every other story in baseball. With key games, live cut-ins, and continuous updates. It's the most exciting race in baseball, maybe ever. And now through the end of the season, simultaneous Wednesday night doubleheaders on ESPN and ESPN2.
62 jacks in a season. You know, some studs never get to 62 in a career. Here's a list of players with the most career at-bats who never reached 62. Tops on the list, Rabbit Moranville, over 10,000 at-bats, just 28 homers. And how about this? 4 of the 5 on this list are Hall of Famers, and Ozzie Smith will probably join them in Cooperstown in the year 2001.
It was one of those moments in which you'll never forget where you were when you watched it. For Stuart, he was eating burnt popcorn, begging our custodian to stop vacuuming for 2 seconds so he could watch McGwire belt number 62. Perhaps your situation was a little more glamorous. Regardless, Mark's 62nd will become an image for the ages and will certainly take its place among the most memorable homers of all time.
One particular time when I went to bat, Charlie Root was pitching. And I looked down at center field and I floored him. I said, I'm going to hit the next pitch ball right past the flagpole.
Here's the pitch by Downing. Swinging. There's a drive into left center field. That ball is going to be out of here. It's gone. It's 7:15. There it goes. The long drive. If it stays fair, home run.
Outs and 2 on. The Red Sox lead at 2-0 in the 7th inning here at Fenway. Deep to left. Yastrzemski will not get it. It's a home run. A 3-run home run for Bucky Dent.
Transformer up there.
And there's a long drive to right field. It's maybe the end of the pennant, but it is up and gone. The Yankees win the pennant as Chris Sandler hits a home run.
And it's swung on, fly ball, center field. Dawson at the wall. That ball is out of here, and a home run for Rick Monday. Smith corks one into right down the line. It may go. Folks, go crazy. It's a home run, and the Cardinals have won the game on a home run by the Wizard.
From the strike. First pitch hit deep to left field. Way back. Guerrero will look up. Jack Clark has just put the Cardinals ahead. A towering 3-run home run in the 9th inning.
Here's the pitch. There's a fly ball to left field. Down
field line. A home run into the seats, and the ball game's over. That's gone. They might be going to call George Brett out. Well, he's out. Yes, Brett is out. Look at this. Brett is out, and the team is mad. They're standing up. Here's the windup. Fastball hit deep to right. This could be it. Way back there.
Here's the pitch on the way. A swing and a belt. Left field. Way back. Blue Jays win it. The Blue Jays are World Series champions.
Puckett swings and hits a blast. Deep left center. Way back. Way back. The Twins go to the seventh game. Catch them all, Kirby Puckett.
And a big 3-2 pitch coming here from Eckersley. Gibson swings and a fly ball to deep right field. This is going to be a home run. Unbelievable. A home run for Gibson. And the Dodgers have won the game 5-4. I don't believe what I just saw.
Here's the pitch, and McGwire drops one to deep left. This could be, it is a home run. Number 62 for Mark McGwire. A slice of history and a magical moment in St. Louis.
Yeah. Speechless. Now that Big Mac has broken the record, he can start adding to it. Wednesday against Pete Harnisch, which you can see on ESPN.
Today's SportsCenter Classic Moment is brought to you by Cadillac.
The U.S. Open singles title is won by Arthur Ashe, the first African-American to win a Grand Slam event. Dutch opponent Tom Ocker proves tough, and Ashe needs almost 3 hours and 26 aces to take the title in a 5-set match. An Army lieutenant, Ashe is the first American to win the event since 1955. As an amateur, he collects the trophy, but must turn down the $14,000 first prize.
That was September 9th, 1968.
Splendid-looking Lexus. Thanks. Like my new Seville, no doubt, a technological marvel, blessed with the control of the world's most renowned driving system. System? Nope, that's right. You don't have the North Star system.
The all-new Seville, with all the power and control of the North Star system, now just $549 a month. It's not just new, it's what's next.
Do I want to know how much?
No, it would break your heart.
The all-new Seville, it's what's next.
The Marlins and Rockies have combined for 46 runs in the last 2 games. Vinny Castilla's 2-run single in the bottom of the 9th gave him 6 RBI in the night and gave the Rockies a win. And Eric Karros hit a sac fly in the top of the 11th to give the Dodgers a 6-5 win in Arizona. The Pirates rallied from a 7-run deficit to beat the Brewers. Jose Guillen's 2-run single in the 8th, the game winner. And the Orioles win in Oakland. Harold Baines hit his 9th homer for the O's.
Now, the ESPN Wednesday night doubleheader will feature Mark McGwire in his first game, post-62, if he plays. It's a possibility, he may not, who knows. And at 10:30 Eastern, an important game for the Giants as they chase the NL wild card against the Pods Wednesday night on ESPN. Coming up, did you know, might be home run related.
Are you serious?
I kid you not.
Let's check that.
Makes no difference who you are. Anything your heart desires will come
Mark McGwire, you have just broken the home run record. What are you going to do next?
We're going to Disney World.
Welcome to Pendleton U, where the most popular class is urban legends.
Something you heard about mixing Pop Rocks and soda?
Supposedly your stomach burst.
But this semester,
Voila, still alive.
the lessons are going too far.
Call 911.
From the producer of I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Someone's taking all these urban legends and making them reality.
Urban Legend.
Bloody Mary.
Rated
Rated-R opens everywhere September 25th.
Isn't this heaven?
Yeah.
No phones, no trading, and no Kramer.
For James Kramer and provocative market insight investors can't do without, hit thestreet.com.
Honey?
Are you still researching the effects of instant replay?
Yeah, we're still analyzing what happened with the Cowler incident. What we can't figure out is what happened in the longest yard.
Yeah, you got to throw the flag there.
NFL Countdown, Sundays at 11, Mondays at 6:30 on ESPN.
Hi, this is Chris Myers. Hope you'll join us later today. We'll go up close with Dave Winfield. He played for 23 years and hit 465 home runs. We'll talk about McGwire's home run season up close with Dave at 6 Eastern.
Did You Know is brought to you by Sprite. Image is nothing. Thirst is everything.
So the home run record no longer resides in the Boogie Down, Stuart. With his 62nd jack, McGwire took the record out of the Bronx, where it has resided through Roger Maris and the Babe since 1920.
Yeah, Ruth took it with him from Boston, where he had 29 homers to set the record for the Red Sox in 1919. McGwire broke the home run record that had stood for 37 years in 1919. Ruth broke the record that had stood for 35 years. Did you know the player who held the home run record before Babe Ruth was Ned Williamson, who had 27 for the White Stockings in 1884. Ned had 63 career homers.
Well, Stuart, it's become a SportsCenter tradition. Whenever history is made, we must montage.
Yeah, this is one of those nights when we truly are blessed. We're getting paid to do what you did. Watch history, scream, yell, talk about it all night long. As we roll out, props to Mr. McGwire. Thanks for the memories, Mark. All 62.
I don't play the game for records. I play the game because I love it.
Big Mac.
Uh-oh. Watch that, baby. Oh, man. Third home run of the night.
Runner going. There it goes. See you later. There it goes. Number 25.
Number 31 on the year for Mark McGwire, halfway to the record.
Home runs on July 12th.
And I still truly believe if somebody got to 50 by September, they'd honestly have a real shot at trying to break this record.
Number 50 for Mark McGwire. He is the first player in Major League history to hit 50 home runs in 3 consecutive years.
I have a shot.
Home run number 54, where are you? Oh my goodness.
I'd say there's a pretty good chance.
McGwire with number 55. Oh, what a shot.
Number 56 and ties Hack Wilson's National League season record. 57, a new National League home run record.
Home run number 58.
Make it 59.
Wake up, Babe Ruth. There's company coming. It's Mark McGwire with number 60.
There goes number 61. Is it there? Yes. And McGwire is alone with Roger Maris.
Parking is right. Here's the pitch, and McGwire drives one to deep left. This could be, it is a home run. Number 62 for Mark McGwire. A slice of history and a magical moment in St. Louis.
A line drive home run to left for Mark McGwire of the St. Louis Cardinals.